Justice and Law Solicitors for Your Life Radio and David Darko Facebook, bringing you this program live. Today is going to be different sort of dynamics to the programs that we do, and today is going to be special in its own way. So if you've just joined us, share the program for us. For the past 2 weeks, we've been experiencing technical problems, but today it looks like it has been resolved. So we will keep pushing, we will keep firing, we will keep going until we reach eternity. If you've joined us today, this is your first time listening to Lawyer David Darko of Justice and Law Solicitors, you are welcome. If you are one of our regular listeners, then we thank you for your continuous support. May the Lord Almighty God bless you all for your continuous support, both spiritually, physically, financially, and all the lily that you can think of. We appreciate you and thank you for all your support over the years. And for all your referrals, the Nicodemus loyal people, they sit in a corner and they are doing their bit to make sure that justice and law progress to the next level. We cannot, stop thanking you, and we will always remember you in our prayers. All that we ask for is good health and strength and energy and good life, and to be able to live a purposeful life, to be able to make difference in our communities. Today, I am going to focus a bit more on Ghanaian law and the legal system. At least about 2 cases that have surprised me for the past 2 weeks. I am going to be talking about that, and I'm very sure that a lot of people can relate to this. Strange enough, one of those cases is a situation where someone is building his property, and right in the middle of the road, in front of the person's house, there is supposed to be a road. Someone has actually constructed a building right in front of the person's land. So that means the person is unable to get car access to his house. So if the person actually have to go to his house, he's going to park about 2 houses away and then walk. And the strange thing is the person is doing his project, and when they come with the soil, they actually have to tip the soil, to the neighboring land, and for people to actually use that the pan to carry their soil into his property. It's ridiculous. This is madness. Because if you look at the plan of the house, it's very, very clear that in front of that particular house, there have to be a road. And this person is building in the road. I just don't get it. The second one is a property that is jointly owned. And one of the parties has actually gone and partitioned the property, split the property into two with a wall. And then you ask yourself, what is going on in Ghana? What is it that you can do to stop it? Because many a times, when you live abroad, unfortunately, some people living in Ghana think that you are stupid and therefore they can take liberties. The excuses that they use is that you are abroad and therefore you cannot litigate in Ghana whilst you are abroad. Today, I will say to you, it's a fallacy. I'm going to expose those people and those arguments. So if someone is attempting that on you, on your property, on you, then you can use this avenue to take the person on. Because many a times people will say, well, you live abroad, lawyers' fees are so expensive, and getting lawyers involved is simply going to cost you money. So let it be. So leave it. Because of that, some people are taking the audacity, they have taken the liberty to basically use that as a manipulating tool to exploit our brothers and sisters who are abroad and trying to do something to help build the country, but the people that need help, sometimes they behave that they don't need our help. They don't need our investment. And they will do anything and everything to frustrate you. It's about time that we abroad also find a way, a means to expose these crooks and those people who are behind them, allowing this to go on in our country, in our society. So today, anyone who is interested in this area of law or who is experiencing similar problem must pay attention to what I'm going to be saying today. Must pay attention to what we are going to be talking about today. Because where there is a will, believe in me, there is always going to be a way. So people, do not allow people to take liberties on you on the basis that you are not in Ghana, so you cannot litigate. Who born dog? Who said that? Who told you that? Don't let them use that argument to win cases against you unjustly. Because there are ways and means. And today, I'm going to go through the Ghanaian law cases that support everything that I'm going to say. So that if you are in that situation, so that you know have someone who is in that situation, you can then basically advise the person that don't let it go. Sometimes it's not about money. For me, it's about principles. When someone wants to step on your right, you have to get up, get another biggie drum, and beat it. Because you cannot just sit down for someone to take liberties. How long can we sit here and sweat blood? And for people to sit back home and take liberties on the basis that you are not on the ground. It's very, very simple method that you can use in which you can get justice. So that manipulation tool, that if you buy a plane ticket, how much would it cost you? You don't need to buy a plane ticket. All that you need is someone with wisdom, not knowledge. Because wisdom is different from knowledge. Anyone can gain knowledge, but not everyone can gain wisdom. And wisdom is better than silver and gold. So today, we are going to look at ways and means in which you could actually litigate without being present in Ghana. How you can also apply for something called interim injunction. Interim injunction. Typical example is what I was just talking about, where a house is already nearly constructed and someone intentionally building another house in the middle of the road in front of that person's house. I mean, it baffles me. Why a rational human being with a brain in his head will do such thing like that? And sometimes we all sit here and we complain about the Ghanaian system, that the system doesn't work. The system doesn't work. What is it that we are doing to make the system work? Because many a times when someone is playing smart, or for me, when someone is fooling, The wise sit back and don't say anything. And therefore the fool will begin to think that he is wise. The Bible says so. That if a fool is fooling and you don't point out his foolishness, the fool will begin to think that he is smart. So when the fool is fooling, the right voices must speak against it. We must not cower, because at the end of the day, Ghanaian law works. If the law doesn't catch you, you might think it doesn't work. And if we all don't take a step and do something, every time they will keep doing it to us, especially those in the diaspora. And their bargaining tool is that, oh, you cannot be on the plane and come to every hearing. You know, the number of planes that you will get to Ghana is going to cost you a lot of money. So why don't you settle? Why don't you just leave it? I say, me, if I have 1 penny and I know I am right, I will fight and use that penny to fight for my right, because I believe in principles. It's as simple as that. Sometimes people take too much consideration into the economics. But sometimes you have to set precedent for others to benefit from it, for others to follow. And therefore, for that reason, I think it's very, very important that we here understand the Ghanaian law system, so that if something like that is happening, we can then do something about it. Right. Number 2, we also have to look at this. If someone is doing some craziness like that, what is it that you can do to stop the person? You have your house and someone is building a house right in front of your house in the middle of a road. How do you stop such a person? Many a times, you know, people try to use informal means to resolve issues. My brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, the court is there. You could actually apply for something called an injunction. Once again, we will look at it. When and how to apply for an injunction. You need to apply for an injunction to forbid or to stop the person from constructing a building right in the middle of a road. Because, you know, it does not only affect that person's property. Anyone who could have driven on the road will now have to use another road to get to their properties. But yet, people are just sitting there and watching. Nobody wants to do anything, and nobody wants to take the fool on, because nobody wants to be seen to be the troublemaker. But like the Bible says, if a fool is fooling, point it out to the fool, so that he does not think that his foolishness is right. So about time that we follow our principles. If someone is fooling, we have to let them know that it will not be tolerated. And if it's going to cost you money to put the person right, so be it. And not only that, if you take the person on and you win your case, you can actually request for cost against the person. And any amount of money that you have spent in bringing the litigation, as well as, you know, all the associated costs, you can ask the court to make an order against the person. A case came before me, and I was able to, you know, get a person to get a lawyer in Ghana, and I gave the person a bit of guidelines how he should approach the case. The case has been ongoing for 2 years. Yes, 2 years is a long time. Now that the judgment is about to come out, the other side is begging the person who came to see me to take the case from the court so that they can withdraw. I said to the person, if the dog is not going to bite you, there is no way in hell that the dog is going to show you his teeth. If you make a mistake and you withdraw the case from the court, you will regret it for the rest of your life. For me, if you are going to kill a snake, there is no point in not cutting the head of the snake. Because once you cut the head, the rest is a rope, as they say in African adage. So now that you have boxed them in a corner, finish the deal. Because if you allow them to come back, if you allow them to breathe, If you allow them to switch, this time they will finish you. Idi Amin once said, I would rather make a mistake and kill you than to make a mistake and spare you for you to come and kill me. So the whole idea, Jamaninka, Jimina Enka, forget it. Once you take someone on, you have to make sure that you go to the end. Because if you are doing it, I'm doing it, everyone is doing it, the law will also work for you and I and everyone else. Because many a times, when litigation starts, people say, oh, just let it be. Oh, just leave it. Oh, God is there. It will be fine. My friend, God is there. God has given us wisdom and understanding. If the person takes you on, takes the person on. The law works in Ghana. We all know what has happened in Ghana over the past week. Some people said that it cannot happen. Someone cannot be put to jail. Someone has got influence. But believe in me, the power of the social media. No president, no leader in this world is powerful than the social media. No one is powerful than the media. Believe in me. Because once the media start talking, once the social media start exposing the evils in our communities, believe in me, leaders will stand up and they will make something count. Now, this person is in jail. Not only that, on another case or another report also suggests that another jail sentence has been imposed. Monday, the person is going to court. Even if the person is granted bail, there's another, what do you call it? Another action that also jail what do you call it? Holding or detention has been what do we call it? Has been imposed. So when one is out, another one is also hanging. So we should not sit there and say, oh, Ghana, the law doesn't work and all that. No, the law works, and you and I have to make sure that the law is working. By doing our side of it, by respecting the law, and if someone is not respecting the law, for the person to be bring to books. Every time, oh, I'm begging you, forget it. Because once you go wrong, the law must take its course. Where the tree falls, there shall we lay until the judgment day takes its course. So that is what we all have to do. So the whole idea, Jamanika, forget it. If someone trespasses on your land and you need to bring an injunction, so be it, do it. And today I'm going to explain how you can bring an injunction. Also, we will be looking at the difference between leasehold and freehold land. I was speaking to someone only yesterday, and a bit surprising. Well, I was a bit surprised, but then again, I can understand, because a lot of people don't understand the difference. Because when people are buying land, they just buy the land. As far as they are concerned, oh, I bought land, oh, I bought a house. They don't understand the concept. What is freehold? What is leasehold? And what it means. I started explaining it to the person, and the person was shocked, thinking, what am I talking about? Then it dawned on me that maybe I should, on today's program, explain the difference between a leasehold and a freehold. So you'll be looking at that as well, what it means to have a freehold land and also to have a leasehold land. We will also be looking at power of attorney, an interesting concept. If you want someone to represent you in Ghana, in litigation, in any course of action, the arguments that people try to put it into our heads, those living in the diaspora, is that, oh, if you are going to litigate, it's going to cost you too much money. Oh, think about the plane ticket. When you are going and when you are coming, it's going to cost you money. Why don't you settle? Settle for what? You are right and you are being bullied, and someone will tell you settle. Come on. Where is the justice? Where is the principle? Don't be weak. Be tough and be strong. Don't let people manipulate you and play on your intelligence. About time that we educate people through the law. Because if you don't, the person does it to you, what do you think is going to happen? The person will have the audacity to do it to another person. And when is this manipulation going to stop? We all have to do our bit and put an end to do this craziness that is happening in our country called Ghana. They are taking too much liberties and people don't stand up for themselves. I will make it a crusade. Anyone who is trying to exploit, manipulate, very soon I'll be doing a program about property what do you call it? We will do a program about this, and we will have a name for it, and we will expose those people in Ghana taking people for liberties, those people in Ghana stealing from people, either being law enforcer, being property developers, whoever. If you don't play by the book, we will bring you to justice. We are going to expose you on Fire Life Radio. Because so many cases are coming to me every day where people are being manipulated by crook house builders, by crook landlords, by crook agents who claims that they have a lot of lands that they are selling. You buy the land and they sell it to someone else, and they sell it to someone else. Before you know, three people are fighting over land, and the person is enjoying the money, and people are fighting among themselves as to who is going to keep the land and who is the true owner of the land. I am going to do a program about this very soon, and we will allow people to come and share their stories, because it happens to people and they keep quiet about it. Nobody talks about it, and as a result, it has become a cancer within the Ghanaian society. And when someone is brave and the person wants to take them on, friends and families, oh, Kwame Jamanenka, but when in Ghana, asem koko to a kwanebra, what ya brochre, and I want to be for playing ma, tame be free case in Ibia. Massa, it's a fallacy. Power of attorney. Today, I'm going to be talking about that in Ghanaian law. How you can use power of attorney. All that you need is someone of wisdom, not someone with knowledge, because we have educational fools. Some people have been to school, but believe in me, they don't have wisdom. They lack wisdom, and they are fools. If you appoint someone like that, they will disappoint you. But look for someone with wisdom. And when you are giving power of attorney, I would say give it to two people. Two people. Because whatever happens is this. Your own people that you appoint will also betray you. It's all about money. They will also betray you. Sometimes people read the story of Judas and they think that Judas was just a nasty person. At least when Judas betrayed Jesus, he was able to get cash off it. Sometimes your own brother will betray you for nothing, just to bring you down. So when you are appointing someone to be your attorney, it's important that you appoint two people. I'm giving all this for free because I know exactly what I'm talking about. And cases that come before me, sometimes you just feel like throwing up. It's sickening. Someone will allow his family member, to fight his case for me, and the whole family member will betray him and sell him for money. Yet, we sit there and condemn Judas. But yet, once we get opportunity, we do the same thing. So we'll be talking about acceptability of power of attorney in litigation in Ghana. So the whole idea that, if you travel to Ghana, it's going to cost you money, blah, 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 blah. It's all gibberish. You don't need to go to Ghana. You can appoint someone with wisdom to litigate on your behalf. So that argument that people all the time trying to put it into your gumption and manipulate you, it does not work. It does not wash. I say no. Don't let that, convince you and force you and box you into a corner. No more beating and coaching. Justice and Law Solicitors, bringing you the undiluted legal advice. I say, whatever it is, We will come here and we will bring it to you. Yeah, that's the way it is. So today, you're going to be discussing this. We will also talk about naturalization and obtaining British citizenship. Some people say, why bother yourself if you have indefinite? Getting a British passport is not that necessary. I say it's necessary. Why is it necessary? It is necessary in that it's got benefits. And today, we are going to be looking at the benefits of applying for British citizenship. Use this time to share the program for us. When we come back, it's going to be explosives. Let's continue the program. Free legal education, Mr. Frank Nagai. Good morning, wherever you are. Greetings to you, and thank you very much for your referrals and your support. Mr. Nana Ajimana, or Sofo Nana Ajimana, baby, I will be a church out and pay. May the anointing of God continue to shower you with blessings to you and your family, and for your continuous support and all the works that you do for the Ghanaian community in the diaspora. Now, let's go according to what I have listed down that we are going to be talking about. Why apply for British citizenship if you have settlement visa? Basically, the importance of British citizenship. Personally, I always advise people, if you qualify, it's a good idea to apply for British citizenship. In the sense that it's got its advantages and very limited disadvantages. I am of the view that, if you qualify, apply for it, because you never know when you will need to be able to rely on your British citizenship to gain an advantage in a situation. So I always say to people that it's important that if you qualify, please do apply for it. People may have their own reasons why they will not apply for it, but that is fine. But personally, I am of the view that it's important to be able to get British citizenship because of its personally advantages that comes with it. Typical example, as we all know, we come out of the European Union, and now if you have to travel through Europe, or if you have to go to Europe, you will have to apply for a visa, which in this case probably going to be a Schengen visa. Those who have attempted to apply for Schengen visa of late, you have all seen the challenges that you encountered. You can do the application online, but unfortunately, you don't get an appointment. I've known people who have lost out on their plane tickets because they could not go. They were not aware that following Brexit, if you are going through Schiphol Airport to Ghana by KLM, you will need a visa. People did not realize that. And last minute, they were told that they will need a visa in order to transit from Schiphol Airport to Ghana. And unfortunately, they were unable to get the visas on time. And as a result, unfortunately, they've lost out on their plane tickets. Some people have managed to get their money back. Some people are still struggling to get their money back, because it will depend on the terms and conditions in which the ticket was purchased. So this is one of the issues or the problems that people are having. Secondly, we also know by so doing, directly or indirectly, British Airways will have something called monopoly if you've studied a bit of economics. And when it's a monopoly market, the price also goes up. Right now, because they have, what do we call it, control over the market. There is lack of competition, real competition. And as a result, if they say their price is £10, there is no alternative but for people to buy it. Now, everyone is complaining that plane ticket is too expensive. Plane ticket is too expensive, because the alternative is to get another airline, which may have to go through another country within Europe. And in that respect, you also then have to apply for Schengen visa. And the headache associated with Schengen visa is also not a joke. And as a result, people are suffering. There is sufferation everywhere, but then again, it is what it is. That is the situation that we all find ourselves. So we have to do what we have to do, and hopefully things will change in the future. But if you have a British passport, you don't need a Schengen visa. If you are going to go to Ghana, you pick up your British passport, you pick up your Ghanaian passport, you can interchange your passports. Yes, Ghana Immigration Services have confirmed this on their website, where you can hold your British passport to get to Schiphol Airport. From Schiphol Airport, you use your British passport to board the plane. When you go to Ghana, when you get to Ghana, you just use your Ghana passport to enter the country. It's perfectly lawful. However, if you go to, I think, the old Ghana High Commission website, you will see that there was an article that says that you cannot do that. But a Supreme Court has made a decision on this issue. And the Supreme Court has confirmed that as you are dual national, why not? There is nothing stopping you from doing that. So by all means, if you go to Ghana Immigration Services website, it has also been confirmed there. I was trying to get a colleague who worked for the Ghana Immigration to come here and talk, but due to some reasons, he's unable to do it. But I also understand his point of view and for his reasons, because the whole issue was that he would need a clearance from his bosses, and it is a process that takes time and all that. So in the end, I called it off, because I was hoping that, coming from someone on the ground, it will make more sense to a lot of people. But one reason or the other, he was unable to do that, and I have to respect that as well. So, but however, if you go to Ghana Immigration website, Ghana Immigration, what do we call it? Ghana Immigration Services website, then of course, you will get all that straight up. So that is how it is. All the same, you can do that. Now, let's move on to the second thing on my list. I will go by that so that I don't miss anything out. because someone pointed it out to me that one or two was skipped last week. So today I'm just gonna go through one by one. So why apply for British citizenship if you have settlement status? I've just talked about that. There are benefits to it. There are some countries, for example, United States of America. If you are holding a British passport, you don't need to get a visa. You can go to the United States without a visa. They have an arrangement with the United Kingdom where you can stay in the United States if you're going on a visit for about 6 months. There are some countries like, I think, Canada. If you have UK passport, the same thing, you don't need a visa. You can visit and then come back, within 6 months. I think Australia and New Zealand, they may have the same agreement. So these are some of the advantages that you can gain. Not only that, also when you travel and you are coming back to the UK, when you get to the airport, it's very, very simple and it's straightforward. You could actually, use the electronic gate where you just use your passport to touch, you open your eyes and the door just slam open for you and you just enter and that is it. But if you are holding any other passport, you have to go and join a long queue, proper scrutiny and so on and so forth. It does not help. So all that I would say is let's be realistic, and if you qualify for it, by all means do the best that you can and apply for it. One thing that people have to be aware of is also this. You may have a friend, you may have a family member. The family member may not have indefinite leave. The family member may not even qualify for British citizenship. The same person will tell you that British passport is unnecessary, especially if you have indefinite. All that I say to you is this. Someone can advise you, but it's up to you whether to take it or not. You have to know what is good for you. If you have to listen to such a person and you take the person's advice, one day, it will be to your detriment. The same very person will sit there and laugh in your face that when you had the opportunity, you did not do it. Also, I need to point out this. Someone said no one was born to be a criminal, but society made him so. I will say no one was born to be a criminal, but greed, and red eyes made him so. Because at the end of the day, we have different measures and different pressures in our society. We decide to take what we want to take from society. And when we are making decisions, it's a conscious decision that we make. So for me, I will not accept that. I will also accept that there must be individual responsibility for any action that we take. And therefore, if someone decides to do something crazy, we cannot just sit there and blame society. Person is a rational human being, and the person have the ability to think and make decisions. So it's not everything that we have to blame society. Sometimes you also have to look at the individuals and maybe their greedy nature. What happened in Ghana last week? I've listened to social media, so many arguments that people are putting forward. And everyone is right. Believe in me. But some are right more than others. You see, everyone has got a very valid argument. But I will say to you today, do not be surprised if prosecution fails in that case. People should listen to this. People should not be too surprised if prosecution fails in that case. I'll reserve my judgment at the right time. Maybe I will comment a bit more on that. I don't want to bring that into it because at the moment it's too hot. And people are using emotions to make arguments. In a court of law, it's not about emotions. It's not about morality. In a court of law, it's the law. What the law says. In a court of law, it's not about anything but law. So if you say someone, for example, has committed fraud, there is a definition of fraud and there is an element of fraud. And therefore, you need to prove each element. If you can't prove it, the person gets away with it. It's as simple as that. So sometimes, society will say someone is guilty of something. The person will go through the court and nothing happens. Nana Hima say, more details, please. You want more details here? If I bring more details in, maybe it might change the show or the topics that I'm trying to do today. But I mean, all I'm saying is about evangelist Dr. Pat Quarantine Agrada Ado. She's been arrested, everyone is commenting and all that. All that I'm saying is everyone is right, but some are right more than others. People are using emotions to make argument. But in court, it's not about emotions. In court, it's about the law. If you say someone is using other things to dupe people and blah, 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 you need to prove your case. And people have to be very, very careful. Because morally, everyone thinks that, yes, it's not right that someone has done this and so on and so forth. But when you go to court, we don't do religion in court. We don't do morality in court. And when you are doing law, the first thing that they teach you is this. Make sure that you detach yourself from a case. Detach yourself means don't get emotionally involved. Because if your emotions is too strong, sometimes common sense disappears. And therefore, it's very, very important that if you allege something, the burden is on you to prove it. He who alleges must prove it. So if you say, we are dark, for example, and I'm going to use my own self as an example to you. Someone came to me yesterday, and the person said, we are dark. The person that gave my number to you said that you are very, very, very good. And that if I bring my case, you'll be able to sort me out. And the person also said, he is very good, but he's also expensive. When the person said it to me, for me, I was not offended. In fact, I was glad that the person said it. And I thanked the person for it. And I said that sometimes, when you don't have money, everything is expensive. No doubt about that. When you don't have money, everything is expensive. Right now, if you are watching me today, and I said to you that I have bought a Ferrari, 120,000 pounds, what would you think? 120,000 pounds? That is very, very expensive. Yes, you will say that. I get it. But maybe I am a millionaire. So for me, 120,000 pounds is a change in my pocket. So whilst it may be expensive for you, it might not be expensive for me. Why would that be the case? It's because of the person's circumstances and the fact that the person may not have money to pay the right price for the right product. So whilst someone may say it's expensive, another person will say, no, it's not expensive at all. Because some people will value quality rather than quantity. And also, I said to the person, I am not upset that someone has said that. Because what the value, what you get from justice and law, you're not going to get that from most of law firms. That one I can promise you. Who would you call a lawyer on Saturday and he's going to pick up his phone and talk to you? So many people get free legal advice because they are my clients, and therefore I have formed a good relationship with them. So what I did, I then went to the Law Society website. I hope you can see this. And I printed Law Society's guidelines, Solicitor's Guideline hourly rates. Every hour, what the Law Society says, we can charge, depending on experience. So I went through with the person, and you come to this table. You see, this is the hourly rate. I hope you can see it. Solicitors and legal executives with over 8 years experience. This is their hourly rate. If you are in London, every hour you can charge £512. That is inner London. If you are zone 2, zone 1, if you are in zone 2, Brixton, I believe is in zone 2, you can charge £373 per hour. If you are in zone 3, such as Wandsworth and so on, I believe, you can charge 282. And if you are in zone 4, like Orpington and Addington and so on and so forth, you can charge £261 per hour. So if you come to Justice and Law Solicitors and Lawyer Darko, I charge you £80 for consultation. In my view, it's a bargain. It's a bargain. If you come to me and I charge you £80 per consultation, as opposed to £373, then it's a deal. It's a £1 shop. It's a chicken change. It's peanuts. Because I don't set the rates. There you go. The Law Society have set the rate. So if someone claims that it's expensive, sometimes when one do not have it, then of course the person may say that. And also, one thing that I also have to point out so that we get a clear understanding is as follows. You see, lawyers, grade A, grade B, grade C, grade D. And listen to this. If you are over 8 years qualified, you are grade A. Lawyer David Darko, Justice and Law Solicitors. I qualified in 2007, and therefore I can classify myself as grade A because I've been practicing as a lawyer for the Supreme Court of England and Wales for the past 15 years. 15 years post-qualification experience. It puts me in grade A, and therefore I am entitled to charge £373 per hour. So if you come before me for consultation, for example, and you are charged £80 for 1 hour of my time, basically I'm charging you about 1/5 of what I can charge for my service. I'm not saying this out of spite, but I'm saying this to educate our community and our society. Yes, if you don't have something, everything is expensive. Even if you don't have money, you will tell someone that rice cannot fill your belly. Rather, go and eat, what do you call it, gourmet or gombe or whatever. You see the point? You go and eat laps. What do you call it? Laps. Abetie, I don't therefore. Because you get more for your money. So we have levels. And if you're looking for quality and you want Justice and Law to provide quality work for you, then by going by Law Society's recommendation and guidelines, then what we charge you, you will all testify, is a peanut. So those people who think that some lawyers are expensive, that is not the case. Just compared to the Law Society's guidelines, maybe you will get a better understanding. And sometimes when people lack knowledge, they speak from ignorance. So the whole idea is to educate so that people become aware of what is going on. So that sometimes the them say and the say can also stop. Because such a language, it's not good. Because when someone speaks from ignorance, sometimes they don't see the damage that they are doing to a brand. I am not upset. I'm not angry. But for me, we need to educate people. Because when people are educated, ignorance goes out of the way. And also, the comparison between lawyers. We are human beings. We all do comparisons. But if you are going to do a comparison, do the comparison like for like. So, for example, you cannot compare someone who drives a Ferrari to someone maybe who drives, this is just an example, a Vauxhall. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because we have standards and everyone have got their own standard. The standard of Ferrari may be good for someone, but it may not be good for someone who is driving a Vauxhall. Why? Because the person driving the Vauxhall cannot afford Ferrari. That does not mean that Ferrari is not a good car. If someone is driving a Ferrari, the price of it, if the person wants a Vauxhall, it's very easy. The person can purchase a Vauxhall, but not the other way around. And therefore, sometimes when you cannot afford something, you begin to tarnish it. And it's not a good thing. Because the world that we live in is around. As you tarnish Lawyer Darko today, believe me, tomorrow you'll be coming to him, begging him for a favor. If it's not for you, just leave it. Go for where it is for you. But don't spit poison against the person's image. Because lawyers also, we have difference. If you are over 8 years qualified, this is your rate. If you are over 4 years qualified, this is your rate. If you are less than 4 years qualified and you are an executive or a fee earner, you are grade C. And if you are a trainee solicitor, you are grade D. There you go. This is how it is. And for me, it's important that we educate people about solicitors' costs as well. So when you come to Lawyer Darko and he's charging you £80 for 1 hour of his time, and you still feel that it's expensive and it's this and it's that, you are speaking out of ignorance. And anyone who knows this will see how ignorant such a person is, and it will expose your ignorance to the people who are knowledgeable. So today, I just felt like I need to mention this and bring this to the fore so that people understand, what is going on, so that people understand what is happening, and people understand that legal stuff, yes, it is expensive business, but if you go for the cheap, you will get cheap service. If you go for reasonable and also affordable, like justice and law solicitors, you will know what you will get. I am pleased that people who have come to us, I would say 99%, we get a repeated business. And those who have not even come to us, and those who have referred people to us, they will even testify to anyone who will care to listen that justice and law solicitors, when you come to us, you will get a deal. You will get quality. And we will be there and see you through until your case is resolved. That is the way we operate. For us, it's not too much about money, but it's about being able to serve our community, to serve humanity, and to serve our society. It's for this reason that when you come to justice and law, you see all sorts of nationalities. You see Americans, you see Zimbabweans, you see Gambians, you name it. You see Chinese, all sorts. They come to justice and law solicitors. And once you trial us, you will always come back again and again and again. That's the way we do quality service. And we make sure that we do the best for you to achieve what you set out to achieve. Now, let's go to leasehold and freehold. Many a times when people are buying land, all that they do is, oh, me see me fie, oh, my ta asase. once you start asking, is it a freehold or a leasehold, they haven't got a clue. So today, I think I need to explain this, because this has come to me only some few days ago, where someone came to see me, and a house in Ghana, which was co-owned by two people. One of them has taken it upon himself to put a barrier, a block, or he has actually constructed blocks, partition, division. He has divided the house into two. Only in Ghana, man. Only in Ghana. Wow. Only in Ghana. The house is split into two, divided into two by constructing, I would say, artificial. When I use the word artificial here, it means something that has just been added. Because naturally the house was built. And now misunderstanding. One party has decided that I'm going to take this side of the house. You can take the other side of the house. And the person has actually partitioned the house. Sorry, I'm laughing because it sounds so crazy to me. Maybe you are watching me, it will make sense to you. But for me, it does not make sense at all. Maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. But I find it crazy. So if I'm crazy and I find it crazy, then it makes sense. But I find it mad. Maybe I'm mad. I don't know. How someone can actually, in your right sense, to say that, you know what? This is the house. We are falling out, so I'm going to put bricks and divide the house into two. Keep one side, I keep one side. I just don't know. But this is a reality. Me, everything that I say, believe me, it's a reality. I will not just come here and make things up. You know, if you're watching me and you think it's crazy, then I also think it's crazy. I find it laughable. That is the reason why I cannot contain myself. And I'm laughing. I'm not laughing because I'm happy about the situation. I'm laughing because it's crazy. It's something that I don't expect it to happen. But unfortunately, it has. So these are the realities that some people lead. So the house is split into two. One on one side, one on the other side. And I ask myself, I say to myself, how can this happen? Why has this happened? So the person brought the title deeds to me. I went through the title deeds and I realized that the land is a leasehold land. And there is a rent that needs to be paid if you are a leasee. If you are a leasee, we should pay attention to this. In Ghana, especially in Greater Accra, most of the lands at the moment is sold under a leasehold ownership, as opposed to a freehold ownership. If you go to the Greater Ashanti region of Ghana, most of the house or the lands, they have something called allocation and leasehold. Allocation and a leasehold. I will explain all this later. Now, let's go back to the freehold and the leasehold argument, and then we'll come to leasehold and allocation argument. When a land is leased to you, it's for a specific period of time. So if the land is given to you for, say, 99 years, that means the landlord, which in this case, or most cases, are the chiefs, will grant you the use of the land for 99 years. And sometimes they may have within the clause the right of extension, where when the 99 years is up, you can apply for extension. Good. If you apply for extension, there will be rules within the lease that will tell you what would happen and roughly how much it will cost and how long you can extend it for. That is how it is. Right. Now, if you have a leasehold, as a recognition of a superior owner of the land called the landlord or lessor, you will have to pay a rent. And the rent, most of the time, what we call it peppercorn, i.e. like £1 piece of money, just small amount of money that you pay to the landlord annually. It's not because the landlord wants the money, but it is a recognition that there is a superior title over your leasehold, and that when the leasehold comes to an end, you will have to surrender, i.e. it will revert back to the owner of the property. However, they have rules and laws about the right to purchase or the right of extension as a lessee. So if you are a lessee, i.e. the chief have sold the land to you under a lease, it's for a specific period of time. And in this case, normally it's 99 years, sometimes it's 100 years, sometimes it's 999 years. So that's how it is. And then you have to pay rent every year. But if the property or if the land is a freehold, freehold means you own the land absolutely. There is no superior owner, and therefore you don't pay rent to anyone, and you have it forever until you also sell it. So that is how it is. However, if it's a leasehold and it's for 99 years, when the 99 years is up, the land goes back. Whether you have a house on the land or not, it goes back to the chiefs, to the owners of the land, to the custodians of the land. That is what leasehold is about. So when you have a leasehold, for me, freehold would be the best title to have. That one, you don't have anyone to account to. But when you have a leasehold, you are always going to account to your landlord. So we need to, someone is asking, is it the same thing as property tax? No. Property tax is a tax that is paid to the local authority. So for example, in this country, we pay council tax. Council tax is a form of property tax, where you will be taxed according to the band in which your house falls in. Property tax can also be something called stamp duty land tax. When you buy a house or when you buy a land and you are registering it, you have to pay a tax on it. So it's different. But when it comes to leasehold and it comes to the payment of the rent, we call it rent. You pay it to the landlord. And you pay it to the landlord on an annual basis. So that is how that one is. Now normally they will charge what we call peppercorn. So in Ghana, sometimes they will say that every year you pay £10 to the landlord. £10 is nothing. It's not going to do the landlord nothing. The landlord, most of the time, will not even bother to come and collect it. But it's in the lease as a form of, what do we call it? A form of an acceptance that you don't own the land absolutely. But you are recognizing that there is a superior owner of the land. We go back to history. You see, we go back to our history. When you look at our history in Ghana, whenever one kingdom conquers another kingdom, the kingdom that has been conquered will always pay a homage to the kingdom that is protecting them. So it's not that the higher kingdom or the superior kingdom wants that homage or wants anything from them, but it's a sign of respect that I am superior, and therefore I have dominated you, and I'm dominating you, and therefore you have to show me that respect. So they call it homage. I will use this as an example. There was a time that the Ashanti Kingdom had a fight, I think with what's the name of this person here? Otua Kenten or something like that, in the eastern region, either Akwemu or Denchira, one of them, I can't remember. And there was a time that they were ruling the Ashantis. And the chief or the king ordered his servants to go to the Ashanti Kingdom and demand that all the chiefs within the kingdom bring their wives to him so that he can satisfy them. So what did the Ashantis do? The messengers, they cut their fingers and sent them back to tell the king in the eastern region that if he doesn't respect them, they are not going to respect him. And according to our oral history, it is true that the saying came along. That's a bre ama and kamania ama. Because according to the oral tradition, the Ashanti king, his wife was called Amanie, and the wife of Otia Kenten or something like that, his wife was called Brebre. So when the chief or the king in Eastern demanded the Ashantis bring their wives for him to satisfy them, they sent a message to him. Say Brebre Amadia. Because the chief, or the king in Eastern region, from oral history, his wife was called Brebre. And the Ashanti king at the time, according to history, his wife was called Amanie. So he sent a message. And said, "Oh, you know, mama, me man satisfy the dia. Me so me yire Emma won't satisfy him." So when we say Brebre ama, anka Amanie so ama. So it's something that you need to come into an agreement so that there's a recognition that you accept that there is a superior landlord. Lease can be extended. However, if it's not extended, an agreement is not made, the landlord can take his land back. And if your house is on the land, you can also take your house. So that is how it is. One of the disadvantages about leasehold property is this. As the years reduces, so normally, typically 99 years, you build your house within the first 10 years, you are left with 89 years. You live in it for about 40 years. You are left with about 50 years. As the years reduces, before you know, the value of the lease also reduces. So it has always been a custom practice within the field of conveyancing. Where I have specialized in this field for the past 15 years. So when it comes to property transaction, believe in me, I have acquired myself a lot of knowledge in this area. So people call me, about problems that they are facing in Ghana. I offer them free advice. Even though I don't charge them for it. And sometimes I point them to the right lawyers who can deliver and rescue them from all these problems, iniquities. So what I will say to you is, if it's possible, your lease goes down, then you have to try and negotiate with the landlord so that you extend the lease. Because the more time that the lease is going down and down, the more bargaining power that you give to the landlord. So my advice to you is, as soon as the lease is about 50 years left, get in touch with the landlord, negotiate with him, and get the lease extended for another 100 years. So when you get another 99 years plus 50 years, you will get 155 years or so. By so doing, if you are selling it, because the lease has got life, the lease has got longevity, it gives you a good price. So that is all that I will say about lease. And freehold. Freehold, you don't have to go through all this hassle. You know, Master, do you? I say, do your life and the history you are telling. It's important that you also tell history, because you have to use examples with all due respect. Because if you don't give examples, I mean, what you are doing will not make sense. This is not something that maybe someone should take an offense to, because it's history and it's a fact, whether you like it or not. You cannot erase history. It's part of our lives, and therefore we learn from history to make us better people and to learn so that the past mistakes, we don't repeat them. I never did that history. It is there. If you think I am wrong, correct me. We are all learning. But the tone is not nice. Mr. Jordan Asante, you don't speak like that. We are all learning with all due respect. So that's how it is. You can't change history. I did not make that history. We all came about and we are learning it. So that's how it is. If you think it's not a right history, point me to the right history. I'm open to learn. But the comment is not really necessary. That's what I can say to that. Let's move on to the next one. Two that we will also talk about is acceptability of power of attorney in litigation in Ghana. I've already said this in my introduction. Normally, when there is litigation in Ghana, especially property litigation, one of the tools that they will use to manipulate you, especially if you are living in Europe, America, or outside the country, because most of the time people think that they are on the ground, they live there, so you cannot take them on. You will not have time, or you will not have the means and the money to travel to Ghana, to attend courts, and so on and so forth. For me, it's a fallacy. It is a joke. It's a manipulation tool that oppressors, criminals, gangsters will use to get into your head and then manipulate you. You have to be strong. You have to be tough. It's very, very, very important. You have to be tough and you have to be strong. All that I say is look for someone who has got wisdom, not someone who has got simply knowledge. Wisdom is what you need. And all that you have to do is to appoint an attorney, someone to stand in for you. Okay, very good, very good, very good. Right, let me go back. I think I didn't finish the allocation and the leasehold. Very good. I nearly forgot because I got distracted. Now let's look at the allocation and the leasehold. The allocation is a system where a land will be allocated to an individual by the chief or by the odikro or by otumfo. Typical example is City of Kumasi International School. It's a school that I went to back in the days. During that time, where the school is located, the place was just bush. Nobody wants to live there. So Otumfo Nana Prempe, if I'm not mistaken, the one who was there before this one, Nana Prempe II. Yes, Nana Prempe II. Otumfo Nana Prempe II. He allocated that land to Nkanse Jamena, the founder of City of Kumasi. So when they allocate something to you, it's the will of the chief or the king to say that, you know what, I am allocating this piece of land to you for developmental purposes. Either use it for residential or use it for educational purposes. So they will give it to you, and basically, normally, they will not put any time limit on it as to how long it can go on for. But listen to this very carefully. Once it allocates to you, it comes with conditions. So typical example is City of Kumasi. When they allocated the land, the agreement was to build a school. Nkanse Gamina is dead and gone. His son has taken over the school. If his son today decide that I'm not going to do the school anymore, he cannot, as his own will, sell the land for residential purposes. Once he does that, Otumfo will come for him. Because the whole idea, it has been allocated to you for a purpose. The same thing is, for example, a land has been allocated to you to build a residential property in the middle of residential place, and then you go and build a store. The chief or the Odikro or Otufo can come for you because the purpose in which it was given, you are not using it for that purpose. And therefore, the agreement of the allocated land is now broken. If it's broken, he can come for it. Once again, a lease is also what I've just explained, is given to you for a certain period of time. A lease may come with restrictions and conditions as well. And you have to make sure that you comply with those conditions. So that is how the Ghanaian system works. But in this country, we have only freehold and leasehold. But in Ghana, we have freehold, leasehold, and allocation system going on. So when you are buying a land from anyone, ask yourself, what is this land freehold? Is this land leasehold? Is this land comes under the allocation the allocation system? So you need to be very careful which one that you are buying, and you need to understand the terms and conditions associated with such lands. Because many a times people will tell you, oh, matoma sase, ana matoma sase, when you are my neighbor. Obekase matoma sase, and so busane say, asase na watono, and what type of land that na afi aye ensem pii. Enti abesremo se oto asase anase oto fiempo ewo Ghana, you need to investigate all this. Asase na anase efie na asase ni siso no, what type of land? What are the conditions? Where is the paperwork? You need to understand what you are getting yourself into. So if it is not for you, you can then pull out. If you can deal with the conditions, then you go ahead and buy it. So I hope, thank you very much, Brother Yao, for bringing me back to this. Totally forgot because of unnecessary comment that someone made. Some people get too insensitive when you are telling history. But you cannot rob away history. It is what it is, you know. So you move on, you know. But you can always go back to history and use it as an example to learn. Simple. So let's move on. Acceptability of power of attorney in litigation in Ghana. Many a times when there's a land dispute, the bargaining tool or the oppression tool is that, oh, but you live in the UK. You live in America, you live in Germany. How are you going to litigate in Ghana? You know, when cases go to court, it takes forever. Oh yes, it may take forever. It may not take forever. Period. We all saw what happened. An incident occurred on Friday. Monday, someone was in police cells. That is how swift the system can be in Ghana if we all do what is right. And when something goes wrong, and when someone is manipulating a situation, we can all bring it to the attention of the necessary bodies. I believe that something can be done. Right now, with the advent of social media, regardless of what power or position that you hold in Ghana, people can bring you to justice. If you mess about, people can bring you to justice. Pamacho, one moment, many emergency. Hello, sir.
We need to do this for the future of our children, the future of our great country, the future of mankind. This is your brother Uthman ibn Farouk, and I've got a very important message. Alhamdulillah, our brother Eddie is setting up the Deen Center. Not just the Deen Show, but the Deen Center, a full Dawah Academy, a masjid, a Dawah Center in America, the first of its type, a groundbreaking project. And I want everybody, as I'm supporting it, I want everybody to support it so we can take the Dawah to the next level. We need the Deen Center. Please support it.
Knowing who you are starts with knowing where you come from. We are the now and the future. We know that we live in a world that offers us endless possibilities. We'll continue to win, to create when, where, and how we want. And if they ask you how we do it, tell them we only know one way to do it. We don't wait for permission. We do it now. My name is Ayo Balogun, Wizkid, and I am made in Africa.
Sorry, no. Yes, so acceptability of power of attorney in the Ghanaian court. Many a times they will tell you that, you know, don't litigate, it's gonna cost money, don't litigate, plain ticket is expensive. If you have settled the person, it will bring an end to it and all that stuff. Do not fall for that. It's a tool of oppression. It's a tool of manipulation. They will use that to get into your head and then control you and cheat you out of your hard-earned cash. We all know how Europe, how it is tough even to get £10. It's not a joke. To get £10, you have to dedicate an hour of your time, of servitude, enslavement in order to get that. So don't sit there for people to take advantage of you. If someone wants to take you on and you know you have a case, take the person on. If you win your case in court, you can ask for cost. Even if you boarded a plane for the case, you can keep your receipts and ask the court and go for the person once you've won your case. Alternative, you can appoint an attorney. I always say this, it's very, very important that when you are appointing attorneys, you do what? You appoint two people. Because the world that we live in, some people will sell their soul for money. Judas did it. What makes you different from Judas? Judas was a human being as well, a right-hand side of Jesus Christ. Is history? Don't get angry if I'm using history. So, the right-hand side of the Father, the right-hand side of Jesus, but he betrayed Jesus. For what? For money. So the chances of two people coming together to betray you is very unlikely as compared to only one person. Because some people do not care. Everything is got a price as far as they are concerned. So to be safe, you appoint two people to be your attorney. So the two people will be your attorney. That means you give them power to act for you. So you do not physically have to be present in court. All that you have to do is to come to Lawyer Darko. I will draft the power of attorney for you under the right one that will be acceptable to the Ghanaian court. And then you give it to these two people that they should act as your attorney in a course of action for you. You know, and if you get these people to do it for you, it's as good as being there. And then you communicate with them when they are going to go to court, tell them, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want, this is how the case should be conducted. Of course, you must also have your lawyer if you wish. The beauty about Ghanaian law, you don't need a lawyer to go to court. If you know what you are doing, you can go to court yourself. So sometimes, you know, as long as you know the process, as long as you know what you are doing, you can go to court yourself, just like this country. As long as you know the process, the procedures, you can do it. So it's very, very important that, you know, it happens this way. So now, let's look at this. Power of attorney, there has been a bit of controversy as to the effectiveness, the form, the content, and the shape of it. Power of attorney, the shape of it. And there has been cases in Ghana, and I'm going to use this as an example for people to know that when you live at abroad, don't let anyone take liberties out of you on the basis that plane ticket is expensive. Forget that argument. It doesn't wash. Not anymore. People need to get this understanding, this knowledge, so that they can use effective and yet reasonable way and reasonable cost to achieve the same outcome. Now, a power of attorney is a written authorization that is given by one person called the donor to another called the donee, to enable the donee to represent the donor and make decisions or take actions in the donor's interest. So basically, you give power to someone to do something on your behalf. So if someone is cheating you of your land, if someone has sold your land, if someone is stealing your money, if someone owes you money, and the person thinks that you are in UK, you are in Europe, and as a result, you cannot litigate the person in Ghana, the person is joking. All that you have to do, come to Justice and Law Solicitors. We will draft acceptable form of power of attorney for you. You go and then you give it, and then your lawyers can then use that to do what? To bring a claim on your behalf. So if someone owes you money, don't just sit there, oh, I'm not in Ghana, so they are taking advantage, they are keeping my money. Maybe you don't want your money. Because if you want it, you come to Justice and Law Solicitors. We will do the best that we can for you to take them on. Because it's about time that people in the diaspora, we wake up. Too much madness is going on. So we need to step up our game to make sure that we recover what is ours, so that people stop taking liberties out of us on the basis that when we go to Ghana, we don't stay there for long. They owe you money, they start hiding. As soon as they hear that you've come down, they start hiding. Because they feel that you are not in Ghana. The maximum that you are going to stay in Ghana for is 1 month, and you will go back. So as soon as you come back, you know, they lay low. As soon as you go, they come high. No, not anymore. Power of attorney. POA can do the trick for you. All that you need to do is to do what? Is to get someone to stand in for you, and you then move on with it. Yes, it can be done, and you can do it. So that's how it is. So basically, power of attorney, there has been controversies about it, and one of the famous cases is a case of Asante versus Mayesk. The man who is so interested in history, I don't think this program is for you, because law is history. Asante against Mayesk. In this case, the plaintiff resided in Germany and wished to initiate a lawsuit in Ghana. He gave power of attorney to her mother to prosecute the action on her behalf. The power of attorney was, however, prepared in Kumasi, Ghana, and signed by a witness before being sent to Germany to be signed by the donor, the plaintiff. Although the lawsuit indeed commenced, however, the court said that the power of attorney was not lawfully executed It's very important. This mistake, and I told the person, it's wrong execution. So sometimes when you come to justice and law and we say things to you, it may not be what you like or what you want to hear at the time. But we think about the future. What is going to happen tomorrow? If in the middle of the case, someone picked this up. So this is a case. The power of attorney has been prepared in Kumasi, Ghana. Mother-in-law to bring prosecution against someone. And the document was signed in Ghana, prepared in Ghana, sent to the plaintiff or the donor in Germany to sign it. The other side, the opposite party, in the middle of the trial, in the middle of the hearing, brought it up that the power of attorney is invalid, ineffective. Why is it ineffective? Because the donor or the plaintiff signed it in Germany, the witness signed it in Ghana, and therefore at the time that both parties were signing it, the other party was not present. Because if you look at the rules, you have to sign it in the presence of a witness. The witness is in Kumasi, the donor is in Germany, and therefore each party did not witness each party signing it, and therefore it rendered the document invalid. So please listen and pay attention to this. When you are doing power of attorney, if you are in the UK, get a UK lawyer to draft it for you. A UK lawyer who knows the Ghanaian law. A UK lawyer who understands the principles of Ghanaian law to help you. If you go to someone else who is not familiar with the Ghanaian law, it's up to you. I'm not saying that run to Lawyer Darko. No. By the Spirit of the Most High and the Spirit of God, I get a lot of cases. I am busy 24/7. I cannot do it all. However, for your own sake, go to someone who knows what they are doing for you, so that you don't start a case in Ghana and then halfway through this get picked up and then your case collapses on the basis of technicality. You have to be very, very careful. So that case collapsed on the basis that the witness did not see the plaintiff or the donor signing the document, as the witness signed hers in Kumasi, Ghana, and the donor or the plaintiff also signed his in Germany. It rendered it invalid. So it is very, very important that the importance of this document being witnessed by the donor and also the witnesses was emphasized in another case called Husseini and Moru. This is 2014 Supreme Court Ghana Law Report 363. And in this case, the plaintiff, through his lawful attorney, had commenced an action and received judgment in his favor. But the judgment was reversed on appeal when it was discovered that the power of attorney had not been signed by a witness. The person has actually won the case, but because it was not signed by a witness, the whole judgment was reversed, quash, on the basis of technicality. Because the power of attorney was held to be invalid, meaning it was impossible for the plaintiff's attorney to have relied on it to commence the action. On the grounds of technicality. Now, there is also another case, Asante Apia against Amponsa, 209, Supreme Court, Ghana Law Report 90. This is where the plaintiff executed a power of attorney for his donee to initiate a suit on his behalf. The power of attorney was signed by the donor, but not by a witness. It was, however, executed in the presence of a commissioner of oath. Once again, the court initially in this case said that the witness have not signed it and therefore invalid. However, now there's a settled case where the court have made a decision. Luca and another against Samuel and others. 2022. Ghana Supreme Court report on 21st of April 2021. The court have now concluded that if the power of attorney was signed and witnessed by a commissioner of oath or a solicitor or anyone that has the power to administer oath, then it's as good as valid. And therefore, if you are doing power of attorney, I say the best thing is try and go and see someone who is a commissioner of oath to be able to do what? To be able to witness it for you and basically sign it for you as well. So that in an event that it comes to the fold, it comes to the scene that is not valid or anything like that, you can then rely on the case of Luca and another versus Samuel and others. 2021 Ghana Supreme Court report, which was published on 21st of April 2021. So by all means, you can use that to fight your corner. Now, how do you apply for injunction? How do I apply for injunction? It's very, very important that we understand the principles of injunction. An injunction is applied for either to stop someone from doing something or to compel someone to do something. It depends. So when it comes to land litigation and someone is fooling about, then of course, you can make an application to the court for an interim injunction, especially if there is an agency. Typical example is where a house, someone is building a house in front of another house in the middle of a road. This is crazy. It's madness. Why people do that, I don't know. Out of spite, you are building a house in the middle of a road in front of someone's house. In this case, there was a need for the person to rush to the court and apply and invoke the jurisdiction of the appellate courts, where you can apply to the court and obtain an interim injunction pending hearing of a case. So if you are doing something in Ghana and someone is frustrating you, just go to court, get an interim injunction in place, and continue to do what you need to do. If anyone disturbs you, the person will be in breach of peace. And through the courts, you can request that the person is arrested. So in this case, it's not only going to be in the hands of the police, it's also going to be in the hands of the court. So if the police is bent officer, or the police are not going to do anything, the court will do something. If the court is not doing anything, the police will do something. So you are fighting from both fronts. And it's not a bad thing. Believe in me, you achieve results. If that is the case, that is what you do. You start court action, you report it to the police. You are fighting from both angles. Once you get the interim injunction, no one can stop you. And you can then move on and do what you need to do. And when you look at under Ghana Civil Procedure Rules, under CI 47, Order 25, Rule 1, provide as follows. The court may grant an injunction by an interlocutory order in all cases in which it appears to the court to be just and convenient to do so. And the order may be made either unconditionally or upon such terms and conditions as the court may consider just. It's as simple as that. Under Order 25, Civil Procedure Rules 47, it gives the court in Ghana the power to grant an injunction by an interlocutory order in all cases in which it appears to the court to be just or convenient to do so. So all that I say to you is this. If, for example, you have bought a house with someone and you are falling out with the person, and the person has taken out upon himself that I'm going to divide the house into two, and you are not happy with it, you can run to the court and make an application under Order 25, Rule 1, that the act of dividing a property into two is unjust and unlawful. You can make an application to the court and seek an injunction against the person from constructing. If you are constructing your house, someone is disturbing you, and you have no other choice apart from the police and the court, you can rely on Order 25 Rule 1 and make an application for interlocutory injunction or interim injunction, which the court will give you the power to go ahead with your project. And if anyone tries to come in and exercise any unlawful power or lawful force, you go to the court, get power of arrest and warrant, and get the person prosecuted. It's as simple as that. So by all means, Ghana, the law works, believe in me. However, if you don't bring it to the attentions of the authorities, how would the law work? If they don't know, how would they do something about it? These days, we are lucky and blessed with social media. If anyone try to cover things up and try to be kululu, where people know what is right, but they will still stick to the side of the wrong and evil, then social media will explode and speak. The social media is there to defend the voiceless. The social media is there to speak to the less powerful. Social media is there to speak to people who do not have voice. And believe in me, the arrest that took place, in my view, no doubt about that, the social media played a significant role. So do not just sit there and cry quietly. Do not just sit there and be bullied quietly. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Social media is there to expose the criminals, the gangsters, the corrupt people within our society, the corrupt people within the system. And the same system, the same people will sit there and say, Ghana, nothing works. Ghana is a bad country. Because they are Ghana. They are making it how it is. But you and I can make a difference by taking a stand. If you are looking for a lawyer in Ghana, there are decent lawyers in Ghana who can take on your cases and help you out. Don't think about money. It's about principles. Because if someone is fooling and you allow them to fool, they may think their foolishness is wisdom. And they will continue to fool. But if you take them on, all of a sudden, their brain will start working. It will start going anti-clockwise. So that's all that I can say about injunctions. There are different types of injunctions, but when it comes to a quick injunction that you can get, under Order 25 Rule 1 and the Civil Procedure Rules in Ghana 2014 or 2004, by all means, you can bring that into play and get a lawyer to do it for you. And it's a quick application that you can get results within no time. As long as you are prepared, to pay the right amount of money to the lawyers and also the court fees to fast track it and get an injunction as quick as you can so that you can carry on with everything that you need to do. Law works. Law works. And law is there to protect the vulnerable. Law is there to protect the voiceless. But if you are being cheated, you are being bullied, you are being taken advantage of, and you don't speak out, how do you expect someone to come to the fold and help you? It will not work like that. So it's very, very important that we understand this. Now, let's go to what is happening to the Rwandan legal challenges. Rwanda, as we all know, have an agreement with the UK government that if you come to the UK and you claim asylum from 1st of January, then you'll be sent to Rwanda so that your asylum can be processed there. If you succeed for asylum, you stay in Rwanda. If you don't succeed, what happens to you? That one we don't know. There is a concern. So many organizations have expressed concern. UK government doesn't appear to be listening. So organizations and groups have taken the UK government to court, in which there is soon going to be a hearing and a ruling. There was a hearing, I think, yesterday, the 13th and the 14th, Thursday and Friday, and we wait to see what is going to happen in this particular case. And I am pretty sure that when it happens, there's going to be appeal and so on and so forth. But people are very confident that the group who brought the judicial review will win the case, because they have a very, very strong case. And when you look at the Refugee Convention, there are so many protection in there that the UK government with this policy appears to be ignoring. So we wait to see what happens, and by all means, we will bring you some more information in this regard. The last bit that I will talk about is EU settlement scheme. Once again, the UK government is being taken to court by way of judicial review. As we all know, before coming out of the European Union, the UK government came up with the withdrawal agreement, in which some of the European laws were incorporated into our domestic immigration law. Typical example is the introduction of settlement and pre-settlement scheme visas. And the UK government takes is that if you have been here for less than 5 years, you'll be granted pre-settlement scheme visa. Fine. So the pre-settlement scheme visa is valid for 5 years. After you stayed in the UK for 5 years, you can then apply for settlement visa. The key here is this. There is a concern that has been expressed that if you've been living here for 5 years under pre-settlement scheme, you are European national, and the 5 years come and say you forget to apply for settlement scheme, what then happens? Under immigration law, technically you become illegal, and therefore you can be deported. However, under European law, in which was used to, the withdrawal agreement is based on, says it's perfectly that if you are European national and you are living in a host country and you register, you don't even need to register. As long as you are there, then of course your right under EU law is guaranteed. It's permanent. Unless it is revoked, it is cancelled, or you decide to leave. So in this case, the argument is that since you have incorporated European law into our domestic law, when the 5 years is up, automatically you should grant the person permanent residency or settlement scheme visa. You do not have to impose on the person to come and apply again. Now it has been estimated that 2.5 million people are at risk, and therefore action has been taken against the UK government that should that happen, should someone forget to apply for settlement scheme, the person must not be punished. If not, it's going to be like the Wainwright generation, and basically this will cause problems for people in the future. Last bit that I will say, if you qualify for naturalization, you don't have to wait. As I said last week, instead of 10 years waiting, it's 5 years when it comes to the character test. And if you're overstaying, if the breaking of the immigration rules is as a result of overstaying, as a result of absconding, and as a result of breaching breaching the terms of your visa, then you will be exempted from the 10-year punishment. Instead, it's 5 years. For that reason, I will encourage all our clients, justice and law solicitors, to get in touch so that we can help you to cross the line, cross River Jordan, and come to the promised land of holding the British passport. I always believe that holding British passport is a privilege. If someone doesn't have it and the person is telling you that it's not important, don't listen. Because at the end of the day, if you want to be rich, you go to a rich man so that he can show you his ways and how to be rich, but not a poor man. If you want to be a Christian, you don't go to a Muslim to teach you how to become a Christian. And if you want to be a Muslim, you don't go to a Christian to teach you how to become a Muslim. If I want something, I will go to a person that I believe have the knowledge, who is in the field, to be able to guide me. So all that I would say is do the best that you can. Neutralize as fast as you can, and save yourself and save your skin. Who knows tomorrow? Nobody knows tomorrow. So that's all that I will say. All that I will say is that one have to be careful. One have to also learn. So all that I say is nobody knows tomorrow. And if nobody knows tomorrow, then all that you have to do is to be sharp, to be careful, and do whatever you need to do and obtain your British passport. We are now going to activate the telephone lines. If you have any question, by all means, you can call, and we will take some questions. I'm very, very busy today, so exactly 1:30 we will bring the program to an end. So if you want to call, once again, the number is 07538 969 589. I will do my best and put the number on there so that you can all access it and you can all call the number. We have now till 1:30 to bring the program to an end. Good afternoon to you. Mr. Alex. Good afternoon to you. I hope so. Obia hoye. Na ene alope.
Obia hoye.
Na edi ni biti ya ma.
Ya da se pa na education. Tene de odi akomu pa ya da se.
Ya do siko.
Ya do siko na questions bi bre so benti no. Ya de beto kakaka ni ahwe. Ya team wa no. I'm say the first one here interim injunction no. And on so okogia means that you can continue working on your land until the court decide otherwise, and I say no what here.
Precisely, exactly. Yamfane say usi wadai wako to cement wako high niema wako tuwe. You are in the middle of doing it all of a sudden. Na ubiaba na ebioba because of problem. Na ye. Abane sana, you can go to court. You explain to the court the situation at home, because cement when you swear within certain period of time, I say what the call back so swear in pano atoma we onje. wako han nema woka wako fa workers wetwa omoka chese uhwe hawa edebro na wa setting nyina up ese court no am make decision and ase one man order no right now you stand a chance of losing ebia 5 billion. Support ni beti ase se essay na nipa na ode sa hawo na ma no ode sa kan be mana manatu ade you are prepared to wait.
Okay.
And to court be hu se ane a case awa kasa so ekita ebia wato asase wo ho papers a e kire say genuinely ade no wato paper so ekita ye genuine na obi free be bia ba oni paper bia na obeka cho say ene dia o paper wo hia on fa paper ma no be disturb kwa.
Okay.
So it's a bonus now you plead to the court and the court have a discretion under rule 21. So rule 25. It's a bonus now under Ghana civil procedure rules the judge can grant you interim injunction pending the calling of the case and the outcome of the decision. And until sometimes obiti mi si fie wie na court na make order say yes bubu fie no. Ana enkofo ntiase. Na mum se wo case na so we 100% sure yemfa ne say Mr. Alex waton ade ama me wo se ade na eye wodia wakofa documents aba wo se eye genuine ma check with lands everything is on board now. Through that who said there's a contract between you and me and it's what catch him say ade na eye wodia na se ma gina so agea to say ye wodia na ma rely on that to my detriment yemfa ne say court ama me order me si dan no afi court say order no ama your decision against me e ka mabo nyina no enipa no otoma no nam de ba ne so because say nipa no am misrepresenting me eno na man for say false misrepresentation obi twiri mu festika bejiska. Yes. So enti no ye careful say o ton ade na ukodwidwo anum ekoka say too much ewa bra enye ne kura ubedem my friend. It's as simple as that. You cannot joke about. Enti ade de wo ton and no answer mommy ade am ton ye satisfy yourself before you pay. And you put the person on notice. Enti ene semato mo awie na se echina atwitwi kakra bia you cannot come to me and say ade na echire atwitwi na man kan chiro because I told you say satisfy yourself before you buy. So it's very, very important. Me adiana ye me bufu a meeting every day. Na team akoma ne say Ghana for ni bimo. Omo te ono bi so te abrochi anim yansa. So it's what they do ne say. Ono ato ade na ma no sa akoto am obi. No sa ni nipa na kwa akoye kanana. Esa on samra land ni so medi stable. Because what te abrochi enti no sebe ensuo ana enam mu. Enti no wani anya de mpe no masisi no masa to wedi because we yana ka che say wa busi ani be ka che say oh kwabnales woti abrochire untimi ntwemanso afi na asem no when Ghana case ekokota yesi ene echina ana say and plain take it kra no enenka oboa no na rekoto fofra na asem ni so atwa na enipa no abu kwasea no afa sika adi scot free. And two fees any panel implement this system we na so di microphone sika or the aya less and can she or the aya dark man can she or the aya or hineba yan can she ufi say pado bejai easy money into because why so amene my church dem say power of attorney and when so be po bi asabe enye obi o wonim di o obi onim nyansa na wo the power ahye nsem. So what the power ne mana we na communicate. Per lawyer say ebeko true pa de nken kokona. No. So we ni nipa no ekọ ne pepepe. Enye wo nkwa na wo ye omu favor wo. Omo di wachi no. Because omo ye chi nipa ni tuma no gyae de wo ye na. Next time on fa me ye me. Next time on fa ko yo bi foforo. Enti tebia ni Germany nka no na de bia ye dwini ska ho no. Life is not about money. She broni oduka £1 and asa odeneka £1. Obetro letter e de akwa kotu post e be cost £5. Bet obeye e de age ne £1. Who say ye to na si hu sa ne ma na sebe yes no food o ma jimi o unim nyansa se broni una de krontia
principles yes
and on top of that ma me che onyansa ewo say all running business now we spend £5 edi post to bibi edi chiro bibi a eye business expense e ma o tax burden ekofo
yes
enipa no de £1 o je £1 next time obi hu say we de o ka 50p crazy otua enye sa ba beji because enipa na fa £1 e no anka ne hwea echino be fa say or the sabe yo echino be fa £100 eti no for mo ya they think long term so mini broni bi ko ya adwuma onu ani nua o ya adwuma ma no woni do ye o charge no bibi ni adwene me say akoyitiri mo den sada me dwene yo na echi de hu say nyansa sempa bibu sa no ese John why did you charge your own brother o ka kire me say one charge ne brother next time or the girlfriend beba enu so be free next time girlfriend beba enu so be pay free enti sana enipa ya dwene na tie enti so de be che ne kwade wo de charge no 1p bi no hu say adwuma na wo ye there is a recognition ese wo ye bibia ma no wa charge no eno ko hye na dwene ma next time wo be dwene twice
my next question here since no na you also SCF a block road no and don't imagine term injunction ni so
me pa cha sa can be mantini
me say everyone say ba ko na de mate no ase na everyone say ufiye ni obi so utim say ka di de kwa da nke road but all of a sudden what two of their blocking pan
brady dame
and in this case because there's everyone said that when there's fire there's no way a car need to be grab be doing
wow look
and then they say yes any pan no you more land it in the land for the woman and say oh do so many in areas in almost a baby the hop no my fast I yet documents are confirm
okay
you can't to me ma if you wait till when you know and then for so I shahana what me up to one and say they are blocking a quite in this case
yes you can firstly as we call local council because we say your town and development planning authority and I say committee and bibisa baby a ewo Ghana no omo e develop no and so omo ye plan at all ese aha say na ese ye aha say na ese ye aha say na ese ye na aya sebe ebimu elake understanding any knowledge and until they don't want to follow the law and therefore no your local planning your council no and when that's what they report echo any pictures trade any pictures na identify bibia natural the dangers of having that there apart from fire na nko ano ensuo kra na enya ba bi mfa enti moti wona se ensuo yiri na efa mo a na moti ho e blemu nyame oh because I say ebi mo ndwene oh sorry to use this word but as ebi mo some people refuse to think so enti eba sana you make a complaint to the town council you petition the town council and the petition no omo area ho nyina no try and gather support now the Kakuma town council no chomo say mo 60 days they must do something about it and yes sir you will drag them to court because it's their job to enforce planning
exactly
eti adine nipa ne ye no nipa ne je planning permission ana say nipa ne je planning permission who granted the planning permission
yes
say nipa ne granted planning permission did the person followed the plan for the area enti obi to be hihye no
no correct
enti say anya ne sana mo muti area no you can actually gather the media what dear say when the media get in touch I will give you numbers of media companies you pay them to come and cover it now every internet so now you how many days a day before the sanity comes into play yeah your Fire Life radio you can't send me do actually Fire Life will just so them yeah can ya your sister stations in Ghana pictures in your website I said the cost of Ghana
Oh, fine.
On top of that, you can also take the town planning to court. They should come to court and explain how they are enforcing the planning regulations. Say a bit take standard. Sabi say nyambrasema kosi ekromo. Ebe jai. A day na baby and sofa, baby a kafa was my metal wafa. What kind of nonsense is this? And I'm saying education, you know, you go and learn knowledge, but not wisdom. Because Sabi say wisdom power with you, my best idea.
Yes, I deal with that. You never do it. And you know, now me at my mind, you have a friend who can appointment naturalization. I'll kind of. I'm saying, do that opportunity with the neighbor. You me at my Monday, you book appointment. Now, that date have in your mind.
Aye, and your big deal. Yeah, that's CP. Why? Bye bye.
And yeah.
Hello, you are live on Fire Life Radio. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, boss.
I'm Patriot. Say, who are live on air?
Yeah, I'm just on my way to your place.
I miss you. Me show you by all means, we are on. Why?
Okay, by 3 o'clock on.
Aye, it's not be kind. Why? Don't worry, cry.
Okay, I'm on my way to the bishop.
About 1:30, me free studio. Why?
About 1:30 free studio.
Send me baby shia on India.
Okay then. All right then. I'm just moving out.
Okay, no problem. TV shia, but that's it. Yes, number did you want to 07538 969 589 because me who say I'm for a free different number. You use temporary number be last week and no pamacho and your number me use it number me use no mame enfant to mamu be. Hello, Atia Donko. Akwaba.
Jaya, me dear.
Bibia Boko.
Yami Adum.
Yami Asi.
Papa. Yadam Fidian so I say, Nadia, what Jay Muna. It may be a good theory.
Sir.
Then somehow would ya bay dear. Ye come up, papa, and I slain yam say. Bebia, nipper be default muno. Almost so a mobile, no money in a year. And now my some way so, and I will be in a back. Aya cat crab, you said Papa Natas, I say, or easily gone. No, to be man a banner. Now, and that is a may view and yan again so be coffee to any salmon and near coffee. Oh, big demand song by teacher now, Papa Nick ticket no cogana. Or mon customer near to a shedder. But then the sour call the toss for me a son, or do. Or some could you know, Nipanesi Abusan also. Untina at some say no, a bed in Tinibana, I any ya send Papa Gigino or send Sika, because an in free pan or the Koya Sadian. Na Sadian na, near what Cassie say, Yamisha of Papa. Say by you or what, Miami crew much am die you all. Oh, qua said, Quine in a seat, will be a Sicano, their broco baby. A final bank one, Wakusi Diasim. And also, be a bank for no more year, as it's all my one. Tia Bassana, a dear necessary.
Mammy, that's CP. Now, I am sometimes, you know, among full seeking legal advice, see who problem. I am a train, a man, dear, no, jigono. Not a fear, na, it be more seeking advice. It be so insecure advice, you cry. Na sesie you know unse obi first one aka obi edikan akosi abronsan esiso awie eba ne sa na e made very difficult to get the land back because ye free bibi say possession is the 9/10 of the law and he say oh to assassin pona so bi tiso a masa tuno na wakofa nipa betena so because a chire bi no obeno betwe man so on the assassin so ntie ene dia ye free bibi the rules of adverse possession and the UK law and under Ghana law say obi tena assassin so for 12 years na so obi ameka ne hwe ya assassin ye ne dia enti ye very careful enti say one nya careful na mo bi besi assassin no ewo obi besi dan na so the roof si so Ghana court no reluctantly they will not change the situation. In a worst case scenario, no, one make us any compensate you. That's if you are lucky. So
yeah.
sad. Nene senka.
Yeah, na I am the past and never to my brain as a me from myself. I see Diamond Castle, the sick, obey then swing, Uba ya near your frasem, Udane, one year custom for into Akonia Bana Befno, and Timoswas in near for no animal war, if you know so money or Moncasamayan. He said to the beer, now I say. More Nimbran, or man, a science lecture, or my own dear Semna, at one point, I do, ya. And look, can be a many puppy, it's true, say a bear, Japadi with fee. He says, you know, door.
Aye. And I make us say under Ghana civil procedure rules, you know. Say untimi enkom mana untimi enkom ma. Pe wo bia sebe na dwunu do. So na one man power of attorney. And no cry no ben fe nipa baako because enipa hu. Obi abako fa ne so ba bebo no anhwe kro beton wedi. And therefore no afa nipa tu. Enipa tu de e be difficult pass on be kanana. Na oma fight against you. It is possible, but it limits the risk. So more. Now our point nipa tu so munjire mu ma. Na afa no.
Papa said Ipan be Namsa Panaso, and Jaja, Muna, Ayaka, ya.
Enti so tigana omo hu sa ni nti no. Omo hu se won tigana wa. Na omo use that as a tool. O what ya brochire unti metwe manso na plain take it try say na omo kan same way edi rawa dwini. Enti what dwini say na your free case ne 10 times. Na se sebe every time they are cost me 10,000 pounds. So 10 times 10,000. I then a man found copy baby for frontal.
No, it's no, it's I want to pay who cry. She said, that's right. Cry to make a ball and send a lawyer seeker into almost one man. Almost free say they can manipulate that situation. But I couldn't know was with me a pill beer. Only man son tree. Pill beer only man son tree and near. That's right. Talkatin time. Now what wrong said Debbie? Young course. That's right, he brutal. I tell you, that's it. Bye bye. Also bet me a friend. Your bed 2 minutes be time no cry. Now I'm on for friends, you know. Also bet me a friend. Last one, now you fetch me dear, not every day. Yeah, the Yamian say, minimum say any program, ya be one crew for P. Who knows tomorrow? Dance to the tune. Nobody knows tomorrow. So if you so see what, take the person on. Say ya. Hello.
Hello, Lawyer. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon to you. Who knows tomorrow?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows tomorrow. Me pacho di de say na kase free.
Within the Nana Yaw Akuma, the Catastrophe Trumpet West.
Nana Yaw hat, young quay.
And we say, Macquarie being a Carabina crash being I told you, Pacific Bisana said, it's in view of what?
Okay, young co.
And says bicycle name, car, bicycle insurance. But any kind of accident, yes. Neco Bassett said, or Bassett bicycle is any panel to crack, not to crack. Near Nico Hospital. And Marano, as the same.
And Marano say, where there is a blame, there is a claim. So the question is, who was at fault? Patrick, what you are saying?
Yeah.
And you need to do assessment and work out who was at fault. Yemfani say ABA may drive. Now all of a sudden, bicycle babe crossing from nowhere. Na se bona. clearly, because of the bicycle is at fault. Sebane say, Abia bicycle me na milem, ana car no, aye mistake, abe family with the abe bomia. Very clearly, I say a driver not a fault. Enti ebe dependent. That is the answer.
Okay.
Obesi aka sini situation naturally me. Ebia no bi so 80. Not the same thing at all. No so esi bi free.
Situation they say na onam payment and so. And na or cross another street. Into another street no all chasing na driver no so if free. The other side no ever cross road no akọ the same street no is so. Into a bra akola no the time no drew ura entrance no nka se kan no kwan no pepe na driver no so he also when bicycle no when who bicycle because now car fight be car actually be the to when bicycle claim no who bicycle no just say what the bicycle no do I pepe na or the pay bicycle until bicycle no already I say na yi no hwe form nti ne mama so why na no twi na no pai kakra na say onya yi ka kanti mara ashe no emergency or the card matter and so me friend no nti me friend no me friend taxi and come dey be kwa na nipa na dey car buy be fire in the call emergency nti nipa no participate anyway or participate or bra ko emergency ye ko fa dey ne ko ne ye ne bele nyina no o dey ho hiem nti o dey ba second no call repair no one tell some tell say say no it 2 weeks and no make me repair about 2 weeks kra ansana omo atumi aye ba second no last 2 days ena what dey buy na me pese me hwe outcome na ansana my nti ko doctors ne ka say o be ko so nya head pain ni de kaka nti me man pain killer all the time we say o be recover nti no na me hwe say e kire no enkofa asamufo bi ama nti me ko so man pain killer ko si say de na adom wa recover nti na e ba sa no na me hu say e man for dey the insurance litis na yi na ma me o me ha but me nya frɛ o mun ka be I say so ye investigation kakra asan me hu ese me ye nti no say sɛ na esitia no nti bia na obi so tia nti mbi o ha na say bia oni akono so in case bi say tia ono say hu no be.
Okay. The thing is vehicle is a very dangerous machine, car yiki. And there is expectation on drivers, if you are driving a vehicle, to use reasonable care and skill to drive.
Yeah.
And therefore, normally when there's any accident, you the driver, very easily you can take, you know, every people will blame you. However, in her defense, she might say that the person came from her blind spot. She did not see the person, and therefore it's the person's fault. Because main road, if you're coming on the main road, the car that is coming from the side road have to pay more attention. From the analysis I did, I cannot really get it that much, because it appears to me, say, the driver was coming from the side road into the main road. And your son was also driving on riding from a pavement onto the road.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
It's crossing another street.
You see, if you are riding a bicycle, you must not ride a bicycle on a pavement. Bicycles are not for pavement. Bicycles are for the road. And noting that your road signs are any part of the road designated for bicycles. No?
Yeah.
And in this case, the person might also have a defense. Let's say if she was driving on the road, she could have seen her. But since she came from pedestrian paveway, he is to be blamed as well. But then the question is, who is to be blamed more? The driver or the bicycle person coming from a pedestrian walkway? It's a case that, for me, I think it can go both either ways. However, when you are driving a car, there is a perception and there is more responsibility on you. And on a balance, I think it's on a scale, slightly, you could win your case if the case go to court. However, insurance companies, the cost of litigation and going through the court and damage to reputation will simply means they may decide to settle you without accepting responsibility. And sometimes, Pawacho, one moment. Well, you said a pop office on he to 10 and 3 and 5. Obama, the number is not a sound. So that's what you should. I'm also doing the phone. Okay, no matter the phone. That is fine. Now, show my day. My cousin's on the phone. I'll show my day. Okay. I just said the phone. Okay. So, if you want anything, I will do it first. Okay. Why? Okay. If you are messaging, you will be chatting about this utility first. Therefore, so I say, I understand that my hand has been beaten. Can you tell me the reason for detention? Why? Today, I'm being really sure it's not offices here. Where was I? Edio. And sorry, I had an emergency call. I had to take the phone call. Yes, so it would depend, and most insurance companies will simply will simply do what? They will simply pay off without accepting any responsibility or liability. That is how it is. So person for us to be in your frame, emergency binti with the 5 minutes in count. About 150 per your name. Number 07538 969-589. Say opese ofra me hu say enkrofo ofre other numbers bi a mean use for this show. It me fa those phone calls na okasa e ma machine ni mu. Eno nti na minti mi mpeke ye no. Ti mestre mo number de be tu dwa no eno na ye use. Edu amankwa efua. Also ofra sa number na be phrase so 07538 969-589. Ubetimi afre abc number ne so. You have 5 minutes in Jumandiana Abanawi, about 50 past 1 pepe, ye koyenim. Nobody knows tomorrow. IK, yes. And Tisana etie. Opesa wofra, Mr. This is the time. You will show na be fremia, enyadia binyame. Sisi a pressure at the top so. Ya chimini pebinti. My giving in a boom nam deti adobono. It's me 5 minutes. I have to rush. Now me ko rescue situation. And say opesa wofra, Mr. P. This is the time ese ofre enti etwa you take 1 or 2 calls bi na yemfa dwumadie no emra na wie ekroma law no sidem sikan no no win no fee. Where there is a blame there is a claim. Enti say accident ba it's a matter of who are we blaming, who is at fault. Say uhu nipa na oye at fault na, then of course ubitimi ayede I bring it a claim. brother so ebusai or sisi no hu so go forward and so ma forward. When there's a personal injury, you have 3 years to bring a claim. And you know, and your force say BBCC, you can sit back and relax and think about it. Now after you know, we decided what to do. From what you are saying, you know, it seems to me say any pana or the carnival bano said you or nipa home because fair no or the insurance details amount or no asabe fa ban the hospital. You know, and any penny and the biggest idea, no, will be on ma or the carnival insurance details in here on farm who be now what 2 night and Tisana ebi mo de akwa and to the fact is say any panel a guinea sepi or guinea on and also so a baby I feel say you need to factor that into account. As a lawyer, we mean to be sure the way name mum the merit of the case, you know, we can help you to make a decision. Until you need to make a decision based on what you feel. Until now, P na chese no so no dear a war no. Until now, ubetimi I dear I take all this into considerations now. When dear oh yeah very important. Why? Until yen is your time now I'm like 2 minutes. You did you dear no baba ne way aka 2 minutes never na chese ye bu ne yako sana etie. And then the debremo naturalization solicitors hourly rate. Ya can be so about how to apply for injunction in the Ghanaian court. Say obedience in Ghana na ofi say onte Ghana ho into which me take liberties na e kire say osu betimi appoint attorney na power of attorney no eno na one drafting ye na one pe obi a wonim de wo ye na one wo amana anye yi a afo de be kono yes e defective said there you some cases are aqua court a defective udi bim cry it me kwashi case it me book case ni to na after asabe asimpi amount and the power of attorney say there is established law in Ghana as a called notary public and I say solicitor and I say commissioner of for oath obetimi IDA I witness your power of attorney no IDA amount naturally say I'm a BBA IDA akon kind so amount. And it's very important. Say these principles. I bet you see. Personally, our advice is say, pay ubi am legitimate amount as your attorney. Ube pay at least enipe two or my ADM. Enipe two or more IDM po. Enipe two umbeti me legitimate amount. Na de bia I am penny for say yes small ubi yes man yanseni ha tinwa po ubi a sebio ubnadwin mu do beti me IBB amount. And I said, with me, TV instructions, not the SO and why I'm on was my job. Yemi about about brother Yao or say, please, I want to know if advisable to apply for my naturalization if I'm traveling in 2 months' time. Personally, it's 50-50. But what people have to realize, they say, oh, yeah, naturalization. And I said, oh, the application be a home office. Now say, Oko, your friend is saying, uko tu kwan anase once you have application pending now outside the UK, the application will be automatically deemed to be withdrawn, especially if it comes to the Home Office attention. The question is 2 months time to the application ko now 2 months before 2 months time now there is a question mark. I cannot guarantee that Home Office at the moment system now you slow kakra, but ebimo there still a go through a air content ebimo so there has become problematic and also it take long. And you know there's a question mark and it's very difficult to work out. But one thing is to say you can do the application, submit the application so that the existing law will apply to you. Meaning how longer okwa ubedino outside ubeba. And you know I would suggest to say ube take it long with the any beer can make us a call uba no babe. But the risk in say whilst in your absence, say law need change here. Now I'm favor be man then so be a problem amount. And you know these are the things that you need to assess before you make a decision. But at the same time, so senya dia be too much. Ubesmi your application no submit it. Hopefully before submit you never know. And you know that is how it is. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, mister. How are you?
Yeah, Mr. Dako.
Let me say.
You didn't check a see film way, bro. At the same time, you was see near church pa with their man. In himself, in coffee, that's a result, no bosom na. Omodia a dim brand so. You was CP because Omudo, I have summer a high amount for pa. Into Waboswa, yada CP, especially land issues now. Obisi in the south say, young friends are water assassin. Normally, they say they are 99 years, no more than amount. But the children in penetra about 20 years and over, young friends say 25 years on qua assassin so. And now, assassin be another family, Sema Omosha assassin, Omopach say, with some reason, Omoja assassin. 1 year she was so, according to near all canon, important assassin 1 year she was so, over 25 years. Brahma Quine say, Omumbo to me, Adia assassin, now say, Baka, without doing anything on the land, and now say, unless say 99 years no sooner or per extension and sana a patch of that CP.
Ghana and Sasini Bio Honoma, Omede Mawa, it comes with conditions. I say within 2 years you must develop the land. Within 5 years you must develop the land. Within 10 years you must develop the land. And therefore, if you don't develop the land within the scale as stated in the lease, then you're going to have problems. And you know, very important. And until I say, you know, Obia etwa now we see structure kitwe bi so.
Yeah.
Now wa mo obia kwa kwotinem. As far as he is concerned, it's a development. Because if you see to asase no, enye sa na tie. Wa ye bibie so.
Okay.
Obi osa no ato fence wa afa ho. Na wa bobo kiosk kitwe bi sim.
So.
And you know, I know your proof of development. Because if you tell me development, Ebia wood development, a 5-story building. Miss me development, a wooden structure, a 1 room I made them.
Yeah.
But also what you see.
Yeah.
And nothing I'm penning for say, Ubi Akono dear, any Odumpo and so on. And once we development be a development. Not when I okon.
Okay.
But what you say.
Yeah, my chest.
Yes.
That's fine.
And you, sanity.
Yeah.
And the pressure was hard better cram. I say more.
Yeah.
Me show phone calls and neighbor. Obi wa ka adwam and ye frame me sa show me jaye enye yi. Teenager, my current situation. That's it. Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.
Okay. And you know, MC Jumedi, you fire last caller. Ye de eba newie. Ye damasipi se enesuso monya adaji na modi etie embremu nsem justice and law solicitors ye de abremo ene ewie ene anope ye de munyina amase what can I say na asiana esi de mo bibiara enti no nyame ya adoma next week ye besai ehie biem na me say de ba so ebebo nkrofo pi because ensema aya na eba ye nim every week. And be now so Odin when I found my dinner now also Odibiaba, now the Baba Yam Fato home, now also TV actually Union now almost so etimi every on the Entina Sana etie Entina Yadamasipi. Mebu Miketim na Marco Twaso na dear Marco Ken Dry Yahusi DBCI and CDBCI Pinama. You know, and tell us if he and the Yamiasi, as Yamiashi, so about the Pimene. And I mean, I was as in Jacobia. Now, Obiti was nice margin. And yes, children what? When I say oh, judge them life. Justice and Law Solicitors, Unit 35B, 49 Ephraim Road, Brixton, London, SW21BZ. Yes, Monday to Friday, all areas of UK immigration and nationality law, employment law, drafting legal documents, power of attorney, state free declaration, affidavits, you name it. Come and see us, and we will do you justice. Family law, Zena. Yes. Zena. Thank you, Nasrat. Obreboya. Zena, sit here. Yes, Miracle, Spring of Life, Enterprise, Yachacha Winera, Miracle for Yachacha. Sanity, Christian of Vader, maybe I will be a Chacha, Paulina Coffee. Or Sister Menchia, or Slave, Yachacha, Paradise City, Yachacha, come on, oh, sure, oh, you what can say, ya, good. The session is Any Namija, it's a big Sanity, you may say she'll be next week. Yami Enko Bibiara home. Yet Yamija Bunina. Mofa do me come and ask me. Say ya!
Sunny, we are sitting here,